Well, over the past few years, we've seen an increasing intensity on the storms, particularly in the winter. I think when New Hampshire is, we have a coast that's ravaged by nor'easters. So when you have a combination of intense wind, intense snow, flooding that comes as a result of that, in many aspects, the beach gets cut off from the rest of the town. We have problems with evacuating people up to the main part of the town, to schools and places where we shelter them in place. And it also creates a number of concerns, right? A mile from here, there's an atomic plant. And we have great concerns with winter storms, with roads being shut down, with high tides, about kind of a unique health and safety problem posed by that being located right here on the coast. Well, one, we have to, shut down Ocean Boulevard, gets shut down, it's flooded, so it's impossible to pass. And also feeder roads. My road, the road I live on, connects to the beach, and it's closed at the end because flooding takes place. The marsh fills up, storm surge comes, and it's impossible to pass. It becomes what's a barrier island right now is a complete island that gets locked off. Have to wait for the water to recede, have to wait for the snowplows to plow the rocks off the road because they become impossible. The sea's very unforgiving, and we're lucky that we have a barrier, that we have a marsh that absorbs much of it. And one of the things that we've been struggling with is to prevent further encroachment on the marsh because of the need to have that place as a way to hold all the excess water that surges in. Well, we have to stop destroying our marshes, because the marshes help us in instances of storm surge. If we fill in the wetlands, then we don't have any place for that water to go. And so we need to prevent building in places where it's just going to exacerbate the problem. I think our community needs some support for basic infrastructure stuff. Other things that I'm concerned about are our sewer system, quite frankly, and the danger that's posed by storms. It's somewhat aging. It probably needs to be upgraded. That would be kind of a proactive measure that I think we could become involved in. I have one other thing that I did think about. I think that it would be important for us to be able to do planning not just here in the town, but as a region. We have a bridge that goes over the river that leads to the town next to us. We have critical infrastructure. The interstate highway runs through Hampton, I-95. And there are some scenarios where an increased storm surge where that closes down, and we need help in protecting just our vital infrastructure that's important not just to our town but to the whole region. I think we need a partnership with the state and the federal government to do that, and we need to be able to work in a coordinated fashion with our other communities that surround us to make sure that we have an integrated plan to deal with the impact of storm surge and sea level rise. Well, it's really clear Hampton can't do it alone. We cannot do this alone, and we need basically all hands on deck. There's a certain urgency, I think, that people don't understand if they don't live on the water, about what's happening to coastal communities, what's happening to our planet. But if Hampton Beach is the jewel of the state of New Hampshire, and we represent a tremendous amount of the economic wealth of the state, what happens to us will impact people in the White Mountains, in the North Country, out in the western part of the state. And so we need to be working, the entire state needs to be working with the coastal communities, and our federal government and our regional states need to all be working together, because this is way too big for us to deal with by ourselves. I think this has been a really important gathering, because I found myself meeting people from coastal communities in Mississippi and in the Carolinas and on the West Coast, and we find out that we have a lot in common, and it's something that there's not a Republican and not a Democratic way to deal with these problems. There's really a community way of dealing with it, and there's a value to sharing the information, sharing the experience. Some people have been through devastating storms Others of us have had moderate, what you might call moderate experiences, but are fearful for what's coming in the future. And it helps us kind of learn lessons from each other and chart a way forward, hopefully, that we can figure out how to work together as coastal communities to, get the attention of the rest of the country about how important it is that we deal with this sea level rise and storms. In some ways, I think this was a historic gathering, and I'm kind of proud to be from the state that has the shortest seacoast of the coastal communities to be the sponsor of this, to be the host site for this.